Welcome to the channel, everybody. Today, we're diving down a rabbit hole that would make Alice's head spin. We're talking about conspiracy theories. That turned out to be true. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about those shadowy corners of history where the government or some big organization was caught red-handed doing some seriously shady stuff. Stuff they swore up and down wasn't happening. So buckle up, because we're about to uncover some serious truth that they don't want you to know. Let's do this. Alright, let's kick things off with a big one. Watergate. Picture this. 1972, Richard Nixon is president riding high, but then, a bunch of guys get caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate Hotel. Now at first, it seems like a third-rate burglary, right? Wrong. This was just the tip of the iceberg. As investigators started digging, they uncovered a massive cover-up that went all the way to the Oval Office. We're talking about illegal wiretapping, secret slush funds, you name it. Nixon and his cronies were knee-deep in dirty tricks, man. The whole thing played out like a political thriller. The media was all over it. Woodward and Bernstein were dropping bombshell after bombshell in the Washington Post, and the public was glued to their TVs. The pressure kept mounting until finally Nixon had no choice but to resign in disgrace. Watergate proved that even the most powerful man in the world isn't above the law. It showed that sometimes those conspiracy theories, man, they're not so crazy after all. Okay, strap in for this one because we're going deep into the weeds of the CIA and their super shady MKUltra program. We're talking mind control, folks. From the 1950s to the 70s, the CIA was secretly experimenting on unsuspecting people, trying to figure out how to control their minds. I'm talking about dosing people with LSD, hypnosis, electroshock therapy, the works. They even used sensory deprivation, locking people in dark rooms for days on end, trying to break them down. They were trying to create the perfect spies, assassins, you name it. They wanted people they could control like puppets. They were experimenting on their own citizens, man, and not telling them a damn thing. The craziest part? A lot of this stuff was done without any real oversight or ethical considerations. It wasn't until the 70s that the truth about MKUltra started to come out, thanks to some brave whistleblowers and congressional investigations. We still don't know the full extent of what went on, but it's a chilling reminder that the government is capable of some seriously messed up stuff. Let's talk about propaganda. Operation Mockingbird was the CIA's secret plan. They recruited journalists to spread their own propaganda, manipulating news to control the narrative. Exposed in the 70s by Senator Frank Church, a huge scandal showing the lengths the CIA would go. This one is tough to talk about, but it's important. From 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on African American men in Tuskegee, Alabama. Now, here's the messed up part. They were studying the effects of untreated syphilis. These men, they were told they were getting free healthcare, but they weren't told they had syphilis. They were given placebos, even after penicillin became the standard treatment for syphilis. Can you believe that? They let these men suffer, all in the name of science. They denied them treatment so they could study the long-term effects of the disease. The study went on for 40 years. It wasn't until 1972 when a whistleblower went to the press that the study was finally shut down. The Tuskegee syphilis study was a horrific example of racism and medical abuse. It led to major changes in how medical research is conducted. From 1956 to 1971, the FBI ran a secret program called COINTELPRO. The goal? To disrupt and discredit groups the FBI considered subversive. We're talking about civil rights groups, anti-war activists, even environmental organizations. The FBI used all sorts of dirty tricks, infiltration, surveillance, spreading false rumors, you name it. They wanted to sow discord, create paranoia, and turn people against each other. They even went after Martin Luther King Jr., trying to discredit him and destroy the civil rights movement. They saw these groups as a threat to national security, but really, they were just exercising their right to free speech. COINTELPRO was exposed in 1971 when some activists broke into an FBI office and stole a bunch of documents. The scandal that followed led to major reforms at the FBI, but it's a reminder that the government doesn't always play by the rules. Okay, let's fast forward to the 1980s, the Reagan administration. The Iran-Contra affair was a real doozy. It involved secret arms deals, hostages, and funding rebels in Nicaragua. It was a tangled web of lies and deceit that went all the way to the top. Here's the gist. The Reagan administration wanted to free American hostages being held in Lebanon by Hezbollah, which was backed by Iran. But there was a problem. The US had an arms embargo against Iran. So, what did they do? They secretly sold weapons to Iran in exchange for the release of the hostages. But it gets even shadier. They took the money from the arms sales and used it to fund the Contras, a rebel group fighting the socialist government in Nicaragua. The whole thing was illegal, and it blew up in their faces. It was a massive scandal that rocked the Reagan administration. It showed that the government was willing to break the law and lie to the American people to achieve its goals. Now let's step back in time to the late 19th century, to France. The Dreyfus Affair, man. It's a story about anti-Semitism, injustice, and the power of the press. Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish artillery officer in the French army, was wrongfully convicted of treason in 1894. He was accused of selling military secrets to the Germans. The evidence against him was flimsy, but the army, fueled by anti-Semitism, was determined to convict him. Dreyfus was sentenced to life in prison on Devil's Island, a notorious penal colony. But the story didn't end there. Émile Zola, a famous writer, took up Dreyfus's cause. He published an open letter, J'accuse, accusing the army of a cover-up. The letter caused a huge scandal and divided French society. It took years, but eventually the truth came out. Dreyfus was innocent. He was exonerated and reinstated in the army. The Dreyfus Affair showed how prejudice and corruption can poison a society. This one sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie, but it really happened. In 1933, in the depths of the Great Depression, a group of wealthy businessmen allegedly plotted to overthrow President Franklin D. Roosevelt. They were unhappy with FDR's New Deal policies, which they saw as socialist. They wanted to install a fascist government, modeled after Mussolini's Italy. They even approached retired Marine Corps Major General Smedley Butler to lead the coup. Butler, a two-time Medal of Honor recipient, pretended to be interested, but he was secretly horrified by the plot. He went to the authorities, and the whole thing fell apart. The businessmen involved denied everything, and no one was ever prosecuted. The business plot remains a controversial topic. Some historians dismiss it as a fringe theory, while others believe it was a real threat to American democracy. The Gulf of Tonkin incident is a prime example of how governments can manipulate information to justify going to war. In 1964, the U.S. destroyer Maddox was allegedly attacked by North Vietnamese torpedo boats in the Gulf of Tonkin. The incident led President Lyndon B. Johnson to ask Congress for authorization to use military force in Vietnam. The Gulf of Tonkin resolution, which passed with almost unanimous support, gave Johnson a blank check to escalate the war. But here's the thing. The second attack on the Maddox, which was used to justify the resolution, never happened. It was later revealed that the U.S. government had distorted intelligence reports to make it look like an attack had occurred. The Gulf of Tonkin incident was a lie that had devastating consequences. It led to the deaths of millions of Vietnamese people and over 58,000 American soldiers. This one's a real doozy. In the 1980s, investigative journalist Gary Webb uncovered a dark secret: the CIA's involvement in drug trafficking. Webb's reporting, which was published in the San Jose Mercury News, alleged that the CIA had turned a blind eye to, and even facilitated, the trafficking of cocaine into the United States. The goal? To raise money to fund the Contras in Nicaragua. Webb's reporting caused a firestorm. The CIA denied everything, and major media outlets initially dismissed Webb's work. But the story wouldn't go away. It sparked congressional hearings and forced the CIA to launch an internal investigation. While the CIA denied any direct involvement in drug trafficking, they did admit to working with drug traffickers who were also providing intelligence. The CIA's drug trafficking scandal is a reminder that the lines between intelligence gathering and criminal activity can become blurred, especially in the pursuit of political goals. That's it for tonight, folks. 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. It's enough to make you wonder what else is going on behind the curtain, right? The truth is out there, but sometimes it takes a lot of digging to find it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of conspiracy, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. Let's keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep fighting for the truth. Until next time, stay curious. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing content. See you next time.